What's secretly on a man's mind when he likes you? We're going to dive into this conversation today. And please forgive me, I got an itch in my eye. So, ladies, if you could sit down, drop the ego, and be brutally honest for just 5 minutes. Please forgive me. Let me reframe that. If men could sit down, be brutally honest, and drop into their ego for just out of their ego for just 5 minutes, here's what they tell you. And spoiler alert, it's not pretty, but it's the truth. But when I say honest, I'm talking about if they are honest with themselves, I believe that the reality is most people are in the dating marketplace because they want to get superficial needs met. They want to be entertained. They want to be they want to be entertained. They want romance, and they want physical connection. But what we've observed in relationships is that there is a lot more moving parts to a relationship than just entertainment, romance, and physical connection. And yet we just adopted that as our entry point into a relationship. But if we're really honest with ourselves, I really believe it's important to identify for yourself what's the purpose of a relationship, particularly for those of us in midlife. And I say midlife is after baby making years and before retirement. I think I have an eyelash. After baby making years and before retirement, because what's different about midlife is when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're oftentimes your purpose is centered around starting a family and raising children together. But for midlife folks, we come to the table with luggage. We come to the table with baggage. We come to the table with our emotional stuff. And the hard part is trying to put a square peg in the round hole. But if people were really honest with themselves, and everything I'm about to share here, even though this conversation is directed to women, if men are watching this is true for men and women alike. If we're really honest with ourselves, this is what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to lay out about 6 or 7 different principles really quickly. And I want you to get a pen and paper, take notes, rewind this, because I want you to go back and really sit with what I'm about to share with you. But if men were being honest with themselves, this is what's going on inside their head. Number 1, I'm emotionally wounded and I don't know how to heal. Let me repeat that slowly, and someone write this down. I'm emotionally wounded and I don't know how to heal. Most men are walking around with unresolved emotional wounds, grief, shame, divorce baggage, and they have no clue how to process this. So they cope by shutting down, pulling away, or chasing dopamine. I kind of started this conversation about chasing dopamine. It's about entertainment. It's about romance. It's about physical connection. They're chasing dopamine. But the minute the relationship starts to become a little bit real, they start shutting down. They start pulling away, because I think the vast majority of human beings, and this is true for men and women alike, truly don't know themselves. And I'm really not talking about dating or relationships. I'm talking about life coaching here. So what's the elements to know thyself? I want you to write this down, okay? Some of the elements of knowing thyself is, first, identifying what your love attachment. Oh, by the way, I just started to say it and I'm going to retract. I've got such squirrel in me. But identifying your love attachment style. This is in no particular order, this know thyself. But I invite everyone to identify for themselves, and for men to identify their love attachment style. If you haven't read these 3 books, and by the way, all the books I'm going to recommend today are listed below. I highly recommend checking out the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. I know I sound like a broken record. I talk about these incessantly. I invite you to read Wired for Love by Dr. Stan Tatkin, Wired for Love, understanding your partner's brain and the attachment style that can help you diffuse conflict and build secure relationship. And lastly, I invite you to read Thais Gibson's book, Learning Love. Okay, why do we need to know our love attachment style? Because the reality is oftentimes we've been indoctrinated in this idea of love A lot of times it's love at first sight, which is usually lust or limerence. And limerence is just extreme infatuation based on some physical and some, personality characteristics. But lust, limerence, and love attachment, and oftentimes humans operate from an insecure attachment style. So to know thyself starts with knowing your love attachment style. And let me just tell you, most humans rationalize their love attachment style as being secure because they're not honest with themselves. I'm going to tell you, most women, they do the test and they come up secure. And I'm like, you're just, this is how we rationalize our own behaviors in a way that makes us feel better than what the reality of what we are. Okay, so know thyself. Taking personal responsibility of your, taking personal responsibility of your actions. When you get triggered by someone, it's our responsibility to manage our feelings instead of pointing the finger at someone. We have a propensity to point the finger at other people whenever we're triggered, and we're not looking at those three fingers that pointing back at us. When we point our finger, there's three fingers pointing back. So knowing thyself means taking self-responsibility, and most importantly, self-awareness. Self-awareness is recognizing one's fears, one's insecurities, our negative judgments of others, how our actions affect other people, our limiting beliefs, our negative patterns that bring us pain, and then how to shift to love when we're experiencing all of this. That's the healing piece I'm talking about in this conversation. So if a man was honest with you, he would say, I'm emotionally wounded and I don't know how to heal. Now, some men are on a healing path, so they're doing that work, but the majority of human beings are not. And listening to podcasts doesn't count. Doing the work is doing personal development, self-help, spiritual work, and therapy. Actually doing the exercises to heal, that's doing the work. Listening to podcasts is just opening the door, but it's not doing the work to heal. Okay, number one, emotionally wounded, I don't know how to heal. Number two, I don't understand the mechanics of a relationship. I started this conversation earlier. Men in their 20s, they have this programming. We go to college, get a job, meet somebody, get married, buy a house, start a family. That's the blueprint. That's the mechanics of a relationship. And a man's sole purpose is to provide and protect. So we hyper focus on earning income to pay the bills. And that's the mechanics of the way men operate in relationship. He knows how to date. He knows how to date. Maybe he even knows how to impress you, but sustain a partnership, communicate when triggered, repair conflict, that's a whole different skill set. And most men were never taught this. We were never taught the mechanics of a healthy, happy relationship. If you haven't read the book, where is it? Oh, here it is. If you haven't read the book, The 7 Principles for Making a Marriage Work, take out the word marriage and replace it with relationship. By the way, this is by John Gottman. And again, all the books I recommend are listed below. This gives you some mechanics to a healthy, happy relationship. I even invite you to read this book. How to Be an Adult in Relationships, The 5 Keys to Mindful Loving by David Rico. Folks, ladies, you are no better at this. You guys, just because you want commitment more than men doesn't mean you understand the mechanics of a healthy, happy relationship. And again, beyond that blueprint of making babies, we're oftentimes think of how many couples get divorced when their children are grown, because they hyper focused on the children being the purpose of a relationship and not really understanding the mechanics to a healthy, happy relationship, which includes conflict resolution skills, but also having a shared purpose beyond raising children. That's just some of the mechanics. Number 3, I don't know how to build a friendship with a woman. We so hyper focus. Oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so wonderful. Oh my God, all based on physical attraction, all based on the stimulation of physical connection, that we actually don't know how to build a friendship. I just pulled out this book the other day. It's by Dale Carnegie, how to win and influence people, how to win friends and influence people. You know, we humans do a terrible job of actually building a friendship within relationship. I got to tell you something. If you speak to happy couples, the core of their relationship is centered around friendship. Friendship means trust. Friendship means I have your best interest at heart. It's about building a relationship on the foundation of trust. And we started this if we could drop our egos and be brutally honest with one another, but we don't operate by that way because we're clouded by lust, by limerence, by unhealthy attachment. And we don't know how to. It's about real talk. Many men skip over friendship and go straight for chemistry. Why? Because they don't know how to open up emotionally. Vulnerability feels like a threat, not a strength. By the way, please forgive me. I'm yelling. I'm just passionate about this. And so it's not men's fault about this. We were never taught this. Folks, we have been indoctrinated by so much garbage out there that men are the leaders of relationship and you're just supposed to sit back in your feminine energy and just let a guy lead because the masculine knows what he's doing. We are great at getting laid, those that are fortunate enough to get laid. I got to tell you something. There's a significant percentage of the population of men and women that can't get a first date to save their life. They're on the dating apps. They haven't taken care of themselves physically. They put together a poor profile of themselves. And so they barely get asked out. I'm talking about the ones that are actually actively dating. And I know plenty of you women are getting asked out by men after men after men after men. You have to learn discernment. By the way, if you need some support with that, that's my area of expertise. You see this link right here, jonathanasley.com/coaching. There's a link below also. Schedule a discovery call with me. My whole area of coaching is to help you discern which guys are capable of a relationship versus those guys that are going to use you and waste your time. Number 3, most men don't know how to build a friendship. Number 4, I don't know how to grow a relationship. I don't know how to grow a relationship. Once the initial excitement fades, he's lost. Growth takes work. And he's never practiced emotional intimacy. And so he'll sabotage or coast in mediocrity. He will sabotage or coast in mediocrity. You know, I'm sorry, I'm pausing for a second. I'm here. I know this sounds almost depressing. Almost sounds like this, what's the point? But the reality is this, the minute we invest in someone from an emotional level and we like someone, we become attached. And God forbid we get attached to someone who's even incapable of a relationship, who doesn't, it's one thing to desire a relationship. It's another thing to have the capacity and capability of being in a relationship. And then lastly, the vision for long term. It fascinates me how many couples do long distance dating and they never talk about the practical aspect of it from the very first conversation. And I'm like, that's because it's long distance. It gives you the opportunity to talk about that. But even if you live around the corner, knowing what's the purpose of doing this other than entertainment, romance, and physical connection. Number 5, if men were being honest with themselves and honest with you, they would say, I go at my own pace. I go at my own pace, which might feel like avoidance from men. He's not trying to mess with your head. He's just afraid to move faster than his emotional comfort zone allows. But here's the kicker. His pace might not align with yours, your reality. When a man says, let's take it slow, it's code for, I kind of like you. I like sex with you, but I can't commit to you. This is when, okay, let me reframe that for a second. This is after you're physically intimate with a man. If all of a sudden he shifts the pace from pursuit to let's take it slow. That is because he likes you. He likes sex with you, but he is either afraid of emotional commitment. He's unaware of how to build an emotional, he doesn't know how to build a relationship. I mean, all of that stuff. So he has to take it slow because he has to rewind because he went so fast in the beginning. Oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so wonderful. You're so hot, you know? And so he has to shift the speed, and men are going to go at their own pace. This is why I'm here to invite you ladies to recognize you are the leaders of your relationship destiny. Don't give that up to a man. But Jonathan, all the biblical people say there's God, it's man, and the woman is subservient to a man. I'm going to tell you that approach is a recipe for disaster. Now, I do believe in having a connection with the divinity, but I look at men and women as a teammates for one another, and their higher purpose is that connection with some sovereignty, with something greater than themselves. But be careful of the relationship coaches that tell you to submit to a man. That is a recipe for disaster, because you're giving your power to them. And like I started this conversation, most men are rather clueless. Number 6, sex is often what's driving me. Sex is what's often driving me. It's not that he doesn't want connection. He just doesn't know how to lead with it. Sex is where he feels most alive, most confident, in control. Emotion, that's the wilderness to a man. So we are often driven by entertaining, romancing, and physical connection. And ladies, you suck it up. You suck it up. Where did love bombing come from? Love bombing comes from the fact that we can dump all of this artificial intimacy and we will get physical intimacy rather quickly. The reality is dating apps have turned into a giant hookup place. That's it. It's a breeding ground for hooking up. And as much as, I mean, sadly, it is 65% of where all relationships coming from, but it marginalized people to just a hookup dynamic, because we don't know how to build a relationship. We don't know what we want. We're not honest with ourselves. And ladies, you are just as equally guilty of everything I'm sharing. And just because you want commitment more so than men doesn't make you any more capable. And again, watching a bunch of podcasts doesn't count. It's rolling up your sleeves and doing the deep inner work that makes a difference. And number 7, oh, you're not going to like this one. I'm focused on my own needs. I'm focused on my own needs. Look, he's thinking, do I like her? Do we work well together? It's not selfish, it's survival. But this is also a huge barrier to partnership, because we operate from what we can get versus what we can give. And ladies, you are just guilty of this. Every time I hear a video where a woman says, God, if a guy can't take me out to a nice dinner, if he can't take me out to a nice date, it's all about what I can get. We don't operate from what we can give and being mindful of someone else's needs. Most humans in the dating marketplace operate from a silo of what can I get instead of what can I give. And most of the time, men are myopic. And myopic simply means tunnel vision. It doesn't make them bad people. So, what do you think of all this? Hey, look, I know this can sound demoralizing. I get it. But what's the purpose of understanding this, ladies? Stop personalizing his behavior as if it has something to do with you, and take ownership. If you're really being honest with yourself, can you take ownership of these 7 areas within your own life? I mean, seriously take ownership instead of rationalizing how you're above it all. Can you stop trying to nurture him into emotional maturity? You have to be willing. You can't force a guy. If he's not willing to do the work, and when I say the work, it's recognizing our fears, our insecurities, our patterns, our negative beliefs, our judgments for others, and start peeling the onion on that, it's going to be problematic. And here's my invitation for all of you. Start choosing men who show up already doing the work. Not perfect, but capable of partnership, because that is the man who will meet you where you're at. He leads with commitment. He is committed to commitment. And if you want to identify those men, then in the very early on in the process, ask them, what does a relationship look like for you? Actually have him describe what it looks like on a day in, day out basis. Ask him, what does commitment mean to you? And ask him, what does commitment look like for you? Before that penis ever goes inside the vagina, ladies, do your due diligence. By the way, I'm assuming you want a partnership-based relationship. I forgot to say this in the very early on. I'm assuming you want a partnership-based relationship. And if you do, and if you have a long-term mating strategy, then operate from the place of intentionality versus this cavalier entertainment, romance, and physical connection. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know if it is. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me. See if working with a coach is right for you. Check out my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Get the books I recommend listed below. Get my dating vows, which is imperative to have that, all listed below. Oh, and you can find me on social media as well, all listed below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, there's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question, then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes, there's a little $ in the chat box. All the money, and there's a super thanks if you're watching a replay. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there with his brother, Colin. This was us in Cancun probably 20 years ago. And in his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process Insight Institute and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal today is $50. So I'd appreciate the love. Thank you so much. All right. Jen. Emotional overload. He needs time to process. Yes, that's the case. Michelle goes on to say, agape versus commensurate love. Exactly. Let's see. Charity says it's sinking in. I'm so happy to hear that. Simon says even Princess Diana and Kate Middleton removed the words "I will obey you" from their wedding vows. I love that. I love that. I didn't know that. So thank you for sharing that. Nazarene said, excuse me, I butchered your name. I love how intellectually clever you are. You're spot on. You know, it's interesting. I actually believe I'm very stupid. One of my core wounds, this happened when my 3rd grade teacher told everyone in the classroom that I was stupid. And since that day, I still carry a script inside of me that thinks I'm worthless because of that. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Stephanie says, poor men, boo hoo hoo. Again, men and women alike suffer from everything I just shared. You know, women and men are really bad at romantic relationships. You know why I know this? Look at, if 50% of first marriages end in divorce and half of those that are still married are miserable, that means we have a 75% unsuccess rate. And if second and third marriages end at a 65 to 75% rate, we are just not good at romantic love. We're just not, we're good at it for the short run. We're really good at it for the short run. But partnership-based relationship, we are not good at it, especially in today's environment. So that's just my observation. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, here's a couple questions. Ready? How long do I stick to a relationship if he's not progressing to marriage in a slower pace than we prefer? Well, I would ask him, I'd have a sit down, and it depends on how long you've been together. But I would say by the 6 month mark of two people being together would be a time to really roll up your sleeves and have a conversation. What's the purpose of this relationship? You should have a baseline of how you feel about them, their capacity for a relationship, their vision for a relationship. By the 6 month mark at the latest, you should have some baseline. And then ultimately, what's the purpose of a relationship? If we're building a house, the foundation first is hopefully building a deep friendship with somebody, and then deciding what do we want to build together. So I would say at the 6 month mark, if they're reluctant, I'm going to tell you why. Because whether it's marriage, living together, it's about, do you want to take care of each other? Like, that's ultimate, especially for those of us in midlife. It's about, do we want to take care of each other? That's the whole purpose of being partnered with someone. It's about, will you wipe the vomit off my chin if I'm going through chemotherapy, versus when's the next trip we can take on? I look at women's dating profiles, and this is just bias for myself. I struggle because it's all the things about entertainment and romance and travel and the dinners out, and whether I can go from a black tie to a jeans, and I can go from jeans to an evening gown in just minutes. It's all the superficial things. Dating profiles rarely talk about the emotional effects of being in a relationship, the capacity to overcome conflict and differences in one another. The whole point of relationship is, can we build something together? So, if someone says, it's really, I don't know if I want to take care of you. Now, do we know this in 6 months? Most men who have gotten married within 3 years of meeting someone, and I'm talking midlife men, they all leaned into, can I take care of you? And the woman has to ask themselves, would I be willing to take care of him? But Jonathan, I don't want to be a nurse and I don't want to be a purse. I mean, look at weird. This is what midlife is all about. Ultimately, it's, do you want to lead to something where you take care of one another? Because, the entertainment part of life, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, even 60s, and not to suggest you can't be entertained in your 60s or 70s, but ultimately, if you're meeting in your 50s and 60s, you got to think about the 70s. And given that the average age rate for human beings is 75 to 79 years old, somewhere in that range, if you've gotten to 60, it's not, yes, you want your last bastion of entertainment and romance, but it's ultimately, am I investing in this person to take care of them when they're sick? And we're not even remotely thinking about that. We're so hyper-focused on entertainment, romance, and physical connection. So anyway, that's just my thought process on that. Irish Fairy Tarot. How do I respond when he says, I love you? This is only new. I live with him too, but I can't let him have the power. He's 26. I'm in my late 30s. Well, someone says I love you. Here's what I love you means to me. And let's see if this relates to you. I love you. I'm here. You matter. We are important. I've got your back. I'm not going anywhere, and I only want you. I'm here. I'm present to this experience. You matter. Your feelings matter to me as much as my feelings matter. We are important. Our relationship is a separate entity. I've got your back. Hey, if you need me to drive you to the colonoscopy appointment, I'm there for you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm fully committed to this relationship. And lastly, I only want you. You're the one I want to jump into bed with and be physically intimate. I'm not on Instagram scrolling through Instagram models. So when someone says that, is that what they mean? Or is it just, I'm insecurely attached to you? I'm insecurely attached to you, and that's what love is. Anyway, and you go on to say, we don't define ourselves. We've been going on since October. Obviously, it's more than a situationship. We're good companions, but don't say it. because we're scared probably why we choose to be in non-committal but exclusive. You know, grown-up relationships require grown-up conversations. I invite you, Irish tarot to read the book, How to Be an Adult in Relationship. If you want to be an adult in relationship, then start thinking about it. Think about a relationship like a business. You do weekly check-ins, you do a budget, you reconcile your bank account. Like you reconcile the emotional bank account, you know? You reconcile the relationship. That's what grown-ups do. They are actively managing the relationship as a separate entity. And so if you're not in that space, but Jonathan, I'm just supposed to sit in my feminine energy. He's supposed to know everything because these men are so good at being the leaders of a relationship. By the way, I'm intentionally just, sarcastic and bombastic and obnoxious when I do that, because it's just a lot of words. Sitting in your feminine energy. How about just sitting in your empowered energy? That's what I want to invite you all to do. Be in your empowerment. Speak up. Start having grown-up conversations instead of, how's your day going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. Tell me about your day. I can't wait to hear all about your day. Anyway, I'm just silly that way. RM Bell says, me and my guy, when we are 79, we'll be enjoying some entertainment floating on the river, lazy river somewhere. Way to go. By the way, we got to give props to RM Bells for the $5 super sticker. Thank you for the love. Hey, listen, we've got $45 more to go for the rest of the day. I would appreciate, listen, if 20 of you just donated $2.50, we'd get to that goal. Janet says, Jonathan, you are so worthy. Don't let the third grade teacher have rent in your head. It's part of what I'm working on. In fact, folks, I'm going to share something public with you. I posted this. Before. Wait a minute. Here, hold on a second. I posted this on my my social media, but I want to read it to everyone. This is a personal share. If I'm being gut level honest with you and myself, I wasn't just looking for love after my divorce. I was looking for a damn lifeboat. There was a hole in me, and somewhere deep in the back of my mind, I thought a woman might fill it. Society doesn't help either. This constant messaging that happiness is a two-player game. And here's where it gets really tangled. As a dating coach, I was emotionally trapped in my own belief system. I had to put on a face of hope. I had to believe love was just around the corner for you, for me, for all of us. Because what does it mean for my work if I start to question this narrative? But here's the plot twist. My last relationship ending didn't just break my heart. It cracked open the illusion. It forced me to ask, what if love isn't about finding someone, but finally finding me? Since then, I've done something wild. I've stopped trying to find love. No more swiping, no more auditioning, no more spiritual whack-a-mole that's called online dating. I've been spending time with myself, and shockingly, I like this guy. I'm not anti-relationship. I've just stopped outsourcing my happiness. This is my new narrative. The love we're all so desperately seeking. It doesn't start with another person. It starts on the inside. It turns out I wasn't waiting to be rescued. I was the whole damn rope. That was my blog, and I want to add something. Honestly, I've been embarrassed. I spent years as a dating coach preaching connection and partnership, all the while chasing love to fill my own void. It took a heartbreak, disappointment, and a brutal emotional reckoning to finally get the damn message. The truth. We teach what we most need to learn. And maybe I needed to guide others until I was ready to turn the light inward, and I'm still a coach, just walking a path I've always been pointed to. Folks, I shared this with you all because I am guilty of seeking love outside of myself. I am guilty of, I need you to love me so I can feel good about myself. I need you to love me so I can feel good about myself. That's the way I've operated for so long. I think if I'm deep down honest with you all, what's secretly on my mind is that I've wanted somebody to rescue me. Maybe it's that narrative, I'm looking for that woman to climb to the highest room of the tallest tower on some level. I'm not proud of this. I'm recognizing that self-love is an inside job. And even though I wrote a book about it called What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work, even though I wrote a book about it, I can honestly say this is the work. Because even though you watch videos, the real work is looking in the mirror. It's not about the guy. It's not about the girl, what they're doing. It's about looking inward and saying, what am I doing? On the inside, do I truly know myself? Do I know my negative patterns? Do I know my limiting beliefs? Do I know my fears, my insecurities? Do I know that when I get triggered, it's my responsibility? Do I know my love attachment style? Do I know my weaknesses? Do I take ownership of my past relationships? Oh my God. This is where, from a dating perspective, I can't tell you how few people take ownership of the ending of the relationship. It's always the other person's fault. By the way, I wasn't a very good husband in my first marriage. I was rather clueless and unconscious. I will take ownership of that part. She had her own part, but I'll take ownership of my part. And in my next two relationships, I still operated by wanting to be rescued. And to some degree, I'm going to have to step into a whole new light. But you know what? I'm done auditioning. I'm done trying to convince someone to like me. I'm not here to entertain you, romance you, and give you physical pleasure. I mean, sure, but I want that in return too. So why am I sharing all this with you? Because those who watch my channel, I'm here to encourage personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. I'm encouraging you to read the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. This is about healing our spirit, our divinity. And I would invite you to all read this book. The Hoffman process. This is a deep dive into healing our childhood wounds and our adult traumas, because when we seek relationship, it's because oftentimes we're lacking something inside of ourselves, just like what I shared in this particular blog post. And I'm not proud of my, it's been damn hard. Because as a dating coach, I'm supposed to pretend like it's everything okay. The dating marketplace is so messed up. It is so messed up. Our human pair bonding narrative is so convoluted. It's no wonder people are miserable. It's no wonder people want to watch videos. And you know why we watch these videos? To hopefully learn how to improve. And yet so many videos are pointing the finger at the problem, but they are not offering solutions. And I'm here, you have all the power within you to find the solutions for yourself. Read these books I recommend. Stop chasing the egoic aspects of a relationship. Start to understand the mechanics of a relationship. Stop chasing lust and limerence and physical connection and chemistry, and start focusing on the true value of a relationship is to be with someone who's kind, somebody who's caring, somebody who has your best interest at heart. But Jonathan, he's got to be 6'2", and for the men, they want the supermodel. Let's stop focusing on the superficial aspects and start focusing on the heart. That's my invitation for everyone. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared about this personal share. Post a comment. I'm going to do my best to read them all. And if you want to connect with me, well, if you liked what I shared, hit that like button. And if you want to connect with me, then click the links below to get to schedule a discovery call with me. All right? Okay. All right. Anyone who wants to join the Love Seat, I'm just posting a link right now. If you want to join me live and on camera, let's have a conversation about this. Stacy says, thank you for the love and support and helping us heal. You're very welcome. Michelle is in the house. She says, I had two very great therapists for about 20 years to identify narcissism within and without. You're a brilliant man. Thank you, Michelle. By the way, if you want to join the Love Seat, Michelle, I just posted a link right now. I'd love to get you on. Let's see. Frank says, I'm recently widowed as I'm grieving, and I'm also finding being alone has empowered my self-love, and I found peace. Way to go, Frank. We're happy to hear that. Way to go. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. Bump, 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 bump. R.M. Bell said, I had all that and I threw it all away. Got it. All right, Nura's in the house. Welcome.
Hello. So
Hello.
I've been watching your YouTube channel for like over a year now.
Okay.
But I'm in a relationship and it has been over 8 months. Yeah.
Okay.
So everything is going great. He's a great guy, generous, kind. He has 2 kids, a divorcee of like 3 years. Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 45.
And how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay. No, there's no judgment here.
Yeah. So I want to see some commitment, and like I would like him to pop the question. Yeah. It's not happening. So last weekend I told him.
Wait, before you go into last weekend,
yeah.
Why do you want him to pop the question? I want to hear your why.
Well, because I think I know him already. Like 8 months is not a short time, and we have been seeing each other 2 or 3 times a week since we started dating.
Okay.
And I don't know what is gonna change if we keep waiting. Like in 4 months' time, what's gonna change? What am I gonna find out about him?
Yeah. Say it to me one more time. I apologize. I got distracted. Say it to me one more time.
Why I want him to pop the question?
Yeah. I mean, well, I want you to go deeper, and I apologize. I got distracted. So do you want him, like, I want you to think about the mechanics of a relationship, okay? I want you to think about it deeper. So he's got 2 children. What's his schedule with his children?
Like he's a great father, very attentive.
Okay.
Twice, like 2 days a week, he has the kids. Yeah.
Okay.
But apart from that, they go on vacations once in the summer and once either in spring or autumn. So, yeah.
Okay.
He's very attentive, and I have kids, so I'm 29, and you know it's a good time. Like, why not?
Okay. All right. So there's not a lot of depth in what you just said. Okay. I just want you to know that. I mean, you're just saying like, oh, I just want to get married. Okay. But there's no real intentionality behind that. So I invite you to lean into that a little bit more and really get clear about your why. Okay. So let's look at it let's reverse engineer this. Why do you think he hasn't popped the question?
I don't know, actually. Maybe it's just too early. Maybe I'm rushing things because I'm 29 and soon I will turn 30. And maybe it's just that, because I think I would be more, I could take things slower if I was like in the beginning of my 20s, right?
Yeah.
But now.
Wait, do you want to have children? Do you want to have children?
Yeah, I do.
And does he want to have more children?
Yeah, he does. But the problem is he's 45 and I'm almost 30 and I want to have kids before I turn 35. So in like 5 years time, he's going to be close to 50.
Yeah.
Like we got to sort of go with a faster pace.
Wait, how long has he been divorced?
3 years.
Okay. And has he had any other relationships before you?
Yeah, he had, but he has not introduced them to his family. So he introduced me to his family.
Okay.
So yeah, everything is great. We are going, I think, pretty seriously, but
Have you
I,
asked about marriage?
yeah, like last weekend I said, oh, you know what? I think a mosquito bit my finger. Like I think some protective shield here. What do you think
Okay.
will sleep there? So what else can I say?
So, okay. And how did he respond to that?
Oh, we laughed it off. So my plan
Why do you
is
think he laughed it out?
because it was funny.
Okay, so you said something funny that wasn't serious, and he reacted with because you weren't being honest. You were being silly.
Yeah.
You weren't being an adult. You were being, hey, I'm a little girl. I'd like to have a gold ring on my finger. I'm just a little girl. That's the way you operated. You didn't operate like an adult. You're not talking about your relationship most likely at a real granular level, like because ultimately, I will tell you most likely, and I'm not suggesting that this is absolute. I'm just saying most likely he's gun shy to getting married again. Did he have a contentious relation? Did he have a contentious divorce?
I don't know. I just know that it took them a year and a half to get a divorce with all the lawyers and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know much
So, I
about.
mean, does he talk bad about his ex-wife?
No, not at all. But that's a
Okay.
great quality that I like about him. He hasn't said anything bad because if he does, that means if our relationship ends, then he may say something bad about me.
Yeah. So okay, that's good. So I would venture to say in the this like he probably doesn't know the mechanics to a healthy happy relationship. He probably hasn't fully processed the ending of his relationship. He probably hasn't taken full ownership of it. He probably he's probably emotionally wounded and hasn't done any work on himself. I mean, this is most likely where he's at, and I'm just saying this statistically speaking. Um, is he focused on his own needs, or does he genuinely care about you and care about your needs?
Yeah, he does. He does care
Okay.
about me. He's very gentle, a great man. So that's the reason. Like I feel like I've known him good enough, and not a single bad thing came about him. Like, and I don't know. Like, I'm done with my decision. Like, I think it's a good call.
Yeah.
But I think he
Okay,
needs
so
more
then the
time.
question is, then I would invite you to have a sit-down conversation and ask about where's this relationship going from your point of view. Like ask him, where do you see this relationship going from my point of view? And then you say like you're asking it, where do you see this relationship going from your point of view, meaning him, okay? I would like to get married. How does that fit into your timeline? And start having conversations instead of, oh, look, my finger is empty. I'm a little 16-year-old girl. I'm a princess. I'm being, I'm sorry. I mean, if you were my daughter, I would say, be a grown up, ask him what he wants. And you will find that he will most likely go, I'm not ready. And he's going to probably say, I need a couple years to be ready.
Oh, for real?
You sure? Most likely.
Yeah, because I don't have a couple of years. No.
Well, because you guys went in so naively, you went ambivalently.
Yeah, but then there is the talk about.
By the way, there's something wrong with your sound.
Sorry.
Okay, talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have this static.
Yeah, there's the talk about the kids, future plans.
Do me a favor, hang up and come right back on. And while she's doing that, folks, because there was a problem with the microphone, I look at, she seems like a very sweet and kind person. There's no doubt about that. And she's still operating from the way most people operate, from a very naive place about relationship, is probably focused on entertainment, romance, and physical connection without talking about the mechanics to a healthy, happy relationship to build that deep friendship. Here she's coming back. So let's see if this works. Okay, we got you back.
Thank you. So there is the talk about
Oh, shoot, we still have a problem.
I'm sorry.
Well, listen, I'm going to hang you up and I'm going to keep talking to the camera about this, okay? All right. Good luck. So Noor was very, very sweet. And coming back to my point, you know, this whole my finger is empty kind of thing is a very, you know, naive, childlike way of approaching this. I'm here to encourage adults to operate from a more sincere place. Now, they've only been together for 8 months. So I suspect he probably knows whether or not he likes her at this point, but does he want to take care of her? This is the scary part about midlife dating, because many people coming off of a divorce are rather gun shy to a significant relationship. They're gun shy to a significant relationship because they don't want to have another bad experience. The problem is most couples don't operate from a place of intentionality. They're hyper focused on chemistry and attraction. I don't know their capacity to resolve conflicts between the two of them. I don't know that piece. But ultimately, because he's chosen a woman who is literally 16 years younger than him, he has to operate from the premise of, I'm going to take care of you. So I'd want to understand the financial mechanics of this relationship. How involved are they in each other's lives to build something together? These are the kind of conversations. And I would say getting close to the 9-month to the 12-year mark is the time to start having these serious conversations. By the way, if you look back in history, if you look back in history, we committed to someone very quickly, and now we just operate from a very cavalier place. We're just enjoying each other's time. We're just experiencing each other. We're not building something together. So Noor, I invite you to have a sit down with them, have a serious conversation about what's the purpose of this relationship? What's our relationship vision? Are we moving towards the idea of being partners with one another, or are we just experiencing one another? And it's quite possible, Noor, that you are simply a placeholder in his life, as he's trying to figure out and raising his children and all that stuff. And ultimately, I'm going to venture to say, it's rare that a man wants to make babies after he's already had babies with someone else. It's rare. There's the exception to the rule, but it's very rare that he might want to make babies with you. So just be aware of that. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know if it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Get all the books I recommend, all listed below. All right, we've got Terry that said, this guy isn't ready for a relationship. This guy isn't ready to commit. RM Bell says, he's more complex part of his life than she is. She is on her own time schedule and pressure comes in. Yes, he's got more moving parts to his life because he's raising children, probably has alimony, child support involved. There's more moving parts. Sheila said, this is definitely resonating with me and hit spot more than once. Yes, I'm trying to. Stacy points out she's operating from what I can get from him and playing the role of wife. She may need to move on. Again, we all operate based on our needs. It's important to recognize that we have to have our needs met, but are you having grown-up conversation? Ava says, 8 months is nothing to compare to a lifetime. 8 months is just the intro. I'm here to say, if you're not consciously being intentional about the future, then you're just experiencing life. And to some degree, it's good to live in the moment because, the future isn't guaranteed. But are you growing to build something, or are you just experiencing each other? That's the way I look at it. Nazi says, He maybe won't get married again, but it's him that thinks about love. Even if you talk to him in a friendly way, you both feel very comfortable. Could you explain his feelings, please? Again, this is about opening up to something deeper. This is what my whole channel is about, is encouraging honest communication very early on, speaking from the heart, but most importantly, listening from the heart, and then ultimately asking yourselves, what's the purpose of a relationship? That's my invitation for all of you. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? I'm going to say it again. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. Please hit the notifications so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to follow me on Instagram and all that good stuff listed below. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, giving myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give either them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. Thank you. I want to thank everyone that was live. I want to thank everybody that donated. I want to thank everyone. And I'm wishing you all a super duper wonderful, fantastic day. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye.